We've been criticizing the lack of action, the complicity, and the blatant support of some countries for Israel and its genocide. In Gaza, you had the shameful position that many countries took in the last few days, especially when Iran tried to attack Israeli military bases where they launch their attacks on the people of Gaza to commit their genocide. And the most shameful positions came really from the countries that are very close to Israel, including Jordan and Saudi Arabia. But now it doesn't look like Saudi Arabia is fully comfortable with only defending Israel and intercepting Iranian missiles on Israel. Now we are having more reports that we're very close to an actual deal between Saudi Arabia and Israel, a historical deal between Saudi Arabia and Israel. So the Israeli newspaper Yediot Ahronot, their website, they had an article quoting also the Wall Street Journal about American figures speaking with Saudis and mentioning this deal and how close they are to the deal. They reported that American and Saudi officials told the Wall Street Journal that the Biden administration is promoting a long-term diplomatic agreement in the coming months, which pressures Benjamin Netanyahu to commit to an establishment of a Palestinian state in exchange for diplomatic recognition from Riyadh. According to the report, the White House is offering Saudi Arabia a closer relationship with Washington in exchange for normalizing its relations with Israel, along with the assistance in acquiring civilian nuclear power and a renewed push for a Palestinian state. According to U.S. officials, the negotiations are now in the final stages. What we had previously were reports that Saudi Arabia would be willing to have a deal with Israel coordinated by the US administration if they end this genocide and give the Palestinians a state. Not that they will, but they said that initially. Now it seems like they're willing to go ahead with minimal confirmation, minimal commitment from this genocide state backed by the US, the EU countries, and the UK. According to the American official, the joint interception of the Iranian attack on Saturday made it clear to Israel how much it could improve its security through closer relations with Saudi Arabia. However, according to the American Israeli officials, the main obstacle is still the attempt to convince Netanyahu to agree to talks on the establishment of a Palestinian state in light of public opinion in Israel and his coalition partners. As an attempt to break the deadlock, Saudi officials suggested to the US that they agreed to receive only verbal assurances from Israel that it could hold talks on the establishment of a Palestinian state in order to secure the other parts of the deal, which are made more interesting to Riyadh. Wow. So minimal requirements from Netanyahu. They don't want to give him something to, God forbid, annoy or displease his radical, messianic, psychopathic, genocidal partners. And they're looking to get Saudi Arabia to get a deal with him. And according to that report, they're playing ball. And the reason I'm actually quoting this is because it's not too far-fetched. I mean, if you're willing to take military steps to support a genocidal state, then what's preventing you from making an actual peace treaty with them and actually supporting them? They continued, the American newspaper stated that if US concludes a deal with Riyadh, which will fail only because Israel is unwilling to support a Palestinian state, a senior American official may give speech detailing the benefits that Israel will receive from the diplomatic package. Wow, so all of these temptations for Israel and no action, no actual action taken against them. And listen to this minister, Bezalel Smotrich, this man who blatantly supports genocide of every Palestinian, by the way. He's commented on the reports of these negotiations regarding a Palestinian state. And listen to what he wrote. For peace with the peoples of the region, for peace in exchange for peace, we believe that Saudi Arabia also wants this. A Palestinian state is an obstacle to peace and is an existential threat to Israel. We will not allow it, neither in actions nor in statements. So despite all of that, they're still pushing ahead. And don't forget, Saudi Arabia initially came up with a peace process plan in the early 2000s that Israel rejected. They literally ripped the paper at the time. Now, while we know that the Saudi government and many other Arab countries didn't take the position that they need to take really with the Palestinian people, it's shocking to see the levels that they're willing to go to in the opposite direction. And it just highlights how much these governments are tied with Israel and with the countries supporting Israel against the will of the Palestinian people, and how afraid they are from any potential Palestinian victory, so that their own people cannot see any sort of victory from the people against a power that was supposedly undefeated and the strongest army in the region, according to claims not long ago.